Terima kasih. Nama besar yang selalu menghiasi layar televisi dan radio kita dengan penuh inspiratif, dan saat ini beliau juga menjabat sebagai ambasador Yayasan Konservasi Alam Nusantara. Mari kita sambut dengan meriah MC kita hari ini, Melissa Karim.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan dan tentunya salam sehat untuk kita semua Bapak dan Ibu. Selamat pagi. Wah, energinya kurang terbarukan nih. I know we're going to talk about energy for the next couple of days, so I need some high energy in this room to start this event with, okay? So, selamat pagi. Lumayan. Bapak dan Ibu udah sarapan kan? Udah kan? Okay, we better keep up our energy throughout the day, throughout the next couple of days, because we have important things to do ya Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. And thank you for the introduction, luar biasa sekali introduction-nya. Perkenalkan, saya Melissa Karim yang akan memandu acara hari ini Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Senang sekali saya bisa menjadi bagian dari event yang luar biasa ini. Dan untuk memulai acara kita, perkenankan kami mengucapkan selamat datang terlebih dahulu kepada the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Indonesia, ASEAN and Timor Leste, Her Excellency Ina Leppel. Guten Morgen, Madam Ambassador. That's all I can say in Germany. Okay. Berikutnya kami juga ingin mengucapkan selamat datang kepada Deputi Menteri Bidang Sarana dan Prasarana Kementerian PPN Bappenas Bapak Ervan Maksum. Selamat pagi Bapak. Dan kami juga ingin mengucapkan selamat datang kepada Direktur Jenderal Energi Baru dan Konservasi Energi Kementerian Energi dan Sumber Daya Mineral Bapak Yudo Dwinada Priyadi. Selamat datang Bapak. Dan tentunya kami ucapkan selamat datang kepada Bapak dan Ibu, narasumber, pengisi acara, serta peserta yang telah hadir hari ini. Baik secara luring ataupun daring, terima kasih atas partisipasinya. Selamat datang untuk Anda semua. Baiklah Bapak dan Ibu yang kami hormati, kami ucapkan selamat bergabung di event Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week 2023 yang diselenggarakan mulai hari ini Selasa 10 Oktober sampai hari Jumat 13 Oktober di Hotel Indonesia Kempinski, Jakarta. Jadi kegiatan hari ini bisa disaksikan secara online ya. Bapak dan Ibu bisa melihat di kanal website kami ada 2 pilihan bahasa yang tersedia. Nah Bapak dan Ibu yang kami hormati, transisi energi itu telah menjadi agenda prioritas utama dalam rencana pembangunan di Indonesia demi tercapainya target net zero emission di tahun 2060 atau lebih awal. Indonesia Sustainability Energy Week 2023 merupakan platform nasional bagi para pengambil kebijakan, pemimpin dunia usaha, pakar, dan komunitas untuk berjejaring, bertukar pikiran, dan melakukan wacana lintas sektoral menuju kesepahaman bersama mengenai transisi energi di Indonesia, sehingga memberikan masukan bagi pembangunan nasional jangka panjang dan menengah di bidang energi. Bapak dan Ibu yang kami hormati, untuk itu Kementerian Energi dan Sumber Daya Mineral dan Kementerian Pembangunan dan Perencanaan Nasional atau Bappenas didukung oleh mitra internasional German International Cooperation atau GIZ Indonesia ASEAN berinisiatif untuk mengadakan kegiatan Indonesia Sustainability Energy Week 2023 dengan tema United Towards a Decarbonized Energy System. Boleh kita berikan sambutan Bapak dan Ibu sekalian? ISEW tahun ini turut diselenggarakan juga oleh program Clean, Affordable and Secure Energy for Southeast Asia atau CASE dan 1000 Islands Renewable Energy for Electrification Program atau REEP. Kita berikan sambutan sekali lagi untuk partner-partner kami. Terima kasih. Dan untuk memulai acara kita pagi hari ini, Bapak dan Ibu, mari kita sambut bersama untuk menyampaikan kata pembukanya Duta Besar Republik Federal Jerman untuk Indonesia, ASEAN dan Timor Leste, Her Excellency Ibu Ina Leppel. Kami persilahkan.
Selamat pagi, good morning. Deputy Minister for Infrastructure of the Ministry of National Development Planning, Bappenas, Mr. Erman Maksum. Director General of New Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, Mr. Yudo Dwinanda Priyadi. Deputy Head of the JETP Secretariat, Dr. Paul Butar-Butar. Dr. Joko Siswanto, Secretary General of the National Energy Council. Distinguished guests, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I open the Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week today, co-hosted by Bappenas and MEMR. United towards a decarbonized energy system. That is the theme of the next 2 days, and I'm very proud that the governments of Indonesia and Germany have been engaging in this spirit for over 30 years. Indonesia is currently on a path to achieve its energy and climate targets with the aim of transitioning to a green economy in line with Vision of Indonesia 2045 and a commitment to achieving net zero emission by 2060 or earlier. The bilateral cooperation between Germany and Indonesia is offering continuous support and solutions that align with Indonesia's energy landscape, national objectives, and emerging challenges. This collaboration has encompassed technical and financial assistance across various renewable energy initiatives, covering renewable energy upscaling, transmission grid extension, green jobs, and skills development, as well as inclusive dialogues with civil society organizations, both at the national and the regional levels. We are currently implementing 17 projects with a total volume of more than 1 billion euro that contribute to achieving Indonesia's national energy ambitions. While I say that, more projects of a total volume of about 800 million euro are in the pipeline. In this context, the German government recently inaugurated the so-called Energy Hub that strengthens our bilateral energy collaboration and contributes to increased efficiencies and synergies. Beyond that, the government of Indonesia and the so-called International Partners Group launched the already mentioned $20 billion Just Energy Transition Partnership last year on the sideline of the G20 summit in Bali. This partnership marks the largest energy transition financing package in the world to date and serves to support Indonesia's rising climate and speeding up the transformation towards a low-carbon economy in Indonesia. It aims to support Indonesia's industrialization trajectory and to demonstrate that there does not have to be a correlation between economic growth and emissions. The ambitions are high and the way forward will be challenging. Nevertheless, we are firmly convinced that together we can make this partnership become a reality for the benefit of all Indonesians. Under this collaborative effort, the Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week serves as a stakeholder forum. It brings together government officials, professionals, private sector representatives, academics, and non-state actors, all united in their focus on sustainable energy issues. Furthermore, it enables the exchange of innovative ideas and forward-thinking strategies to advance Indonesia's energy transformation. Having said that, let me conclude by expressing my highest appreciation and gratitude to Bappenas and MEMR for co-hosting this event. I wish fruitful discussions to all speakers, panelists, and participants. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih, Her Excellency. You may please return to your seat. Baiklah Bapak Ibu yang kami hormati, selanjutnya dengan hormat kami mengundang Deputi Menteri Bidang Sarana dan Prasarana Kementerian PPN Bappenas, Bapak Ervan Maksum untuk menyampaikan kata sambutannya.
Yang saya hormati Ibu Ina Lepel, Duta Besar Federal Jerman untuk Indonesia dan Timor Leste, welcome. Bapak Yudo Dwinanda, Direktur Jenderal Energi Baru Terbarukan dan Konservasi Energi Kementerian SDM, Pak, selamat pagi. Bapak Martin Hansen, Country Director GIZ Indonesia ASEAN, dan di sini juga pada Pak Paul dari JETPI, Pak Al-Mukarram, Pak Sekjen Den, Pak Joko Siswanto yang paling terkenal nih, kepada Pak Febi, dan juga pada Bapak Ibu semuanya yang tidak bisa saya sebutkan satu persatu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, Rahayu. Pertama-tama kami panjatkan puji syukur kepada Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, atas rahmat dan semua sehingga kita pada hari ini dapat menghadiri acara Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week tahun 2023. Saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Kementerian Energi dan Sumber Daya Mineral dan GIZ Indonesia ASEAN yang telah bersama-sama visi lanjut dalam struktur RPJMN 2025-2045 kita mengenal ada 5 sasaran visi yang seperti tadi sudah disampaikan dengan 8 agenda pembangunan dan 17 arah pembangunan goals dengan 45 indikator pembangunan. Ini sesuai dengan magic number yang Indonesia dipunya adalah tanggal 17 bulan 8 tahun 2045. Visi tersebut dapat terwujud didukung dengan peningkatan produktivitas ekonomi agar setara dengan negara maju melalui perkembangan manufacturing yang signifikan. Indonesia emas didorong melalui peningkatan daya saing sumber daya manusia di mana pertumbuhan ekonomi dilaksanakan seiring dengan upaya penurunan intensitas emisi gas rumah kaca. Next, kami telah mengidentifikasi 20 game changers untuk mewujudkan visi 2045. Transisi energi menjadi salah satu bagiannya. Penyediaan energi yang berkelanjutan perlu didorong agar dapat memenuhi kebutuhan pelayanan dasar dan menopang kegiatan ekonomi, pertumbuhan bangsa yang berkualitas. Transisi energi tidak hanya membutuhkan implementasi teknologi modern, tetapi juga membutuhkan dukungan regulasi dan kelembagaan. Berikut kira-kira game changers yang kita rancangkan. Yang pertama adalah transformasi sosial, transformasi ekonomi, transformasi tata kelola, ketahanan sosial, budaya dan ekologi, serta supremasi hukum, stabilitas dan kepemimpinan Indonesia. Melalui transisi energi, kita juga berharap untuk dapat memenuhi komitmen Indonesia kepada dunia. Kita ingin agar penurunan emisi gas rumah kaca Indonesia mampu mencapai 32 hingga 43% pada tahun 2030, serta target net zero emission pada tahun 2060 atau lebih cepat. Kita ingin agar resiko bencana iklim dan krisis planet dapat kita mitigasi dan cegah. Bapak, Ibu, dan hadirin sekalian, transformasi ekonomi dapat terlaksana dengan berbagai pertimbangan kelayakan implementasi teknologi untuk transisi energi seperti teknologi penangkapan dan penyimpanan karbon, sistem penyimpanan baterai, serta peran bioenergi dan hidrogen yang akan dibahas pada acara sekarang ini. Lebih jauh lagi, Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week juga mendukung pula transformasi digital di bidang energi dengan menyediakan platform untuk startup teknologi hijau. Selain itu, diperlukan solusi bagaimana pendanaan dan regulasi dari pemerintah dapat dimanfaatkan untuk meningkatkan investasi dari sektor swasta atau melalui blended finance untuk pemenuhan infrastruktur dasar dan percepatan upaya transisi energi. Berbagai hal penting dari agenda pembangunan tersebut dapat kita diskusikan bersama di Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week tahun 2023 ini. Kita perlu mengeksplorasi ide atau gagasan bagaimana pencapaian target dan upaya transisi energi dapat diakselerasi melalui kolaborasi lintas kementerian dan lembaga, peningkatan kerjasama internasional, serta partisipasi publik dalam perencanaan pembangunan nasional khususnya sektor energi. Bapak, Ibu, hadirin sekalian, Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week 2023 diharapkan dapat menjadi platform untuk menjembatani arah perencanaan pembangunan, komitmen dan target Indonesia terkait perubahan iklim di sektor energi, serta aspirasi dan kemampuan bangsa dalam merealisasikan visi Indonesia Emas tahun 2045. Kami mengharapkan para pemangku kepentingan dapat mengidentifikasi tantangan dan solusi dalam transisi energi sehingga agenda dan arah pembangunan nasional sebagaimana tertuang dalam rancangan akhir RPJPN 2025-2045 dapat diterjemahkan ke dalam arah penahapan RPJMN sebagai cetak biru untuk memandu langkah-langkah pembangunan Indonesia. Sinergitas perencanaan transisi energi diharapkan dapat terwujud melalui proses perencanaan pembangunan nasional. Untuk itu, keterlibatan aktif dari para pemangku kepentingan menjadi sangat penting. Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week 2023 diharapkan dapat menjadi salah satu wadah untuk membangun konvergensi perencanaan transisi energi dalam dokumen perencanaan pembangunan nasional. Sinkronisasi program pembangunan dalam jangka menengah akan terus dilakukan, termasuk menggabungkan rencana teknokratis RPJPNN dengan visi, misi, dan program strategis Presiden terpilih. Kemarin kami, Bappenas, mengundang semua parpol peserta pemilu, beserta KPU dan Bawaslu. Kita ingin bahwa RPJPN ini menjadi acuan semua stakeholder yang ada di Indonesia ini, di nasional. Dan kita ingin bahwa proses pemilu ataupun pilkada itu menjadi streamline antara dari pusat hingga ke daerah. Dan dalam hal ini RPJM menjadi acuan untuk presiden ataupun kepala daerah ke depan. Bagaimana harus sinergi antara pusat dan daerah. Bapak, Ibu, dan hadirin sekalian, Kementerian PPN Bappenas sebagai kementerian yang berperan untuk memetakan rencana pembangunan nasional, baik jangka panjang maupun jangka menengah, akan mendapatkan manfaat dari rekomendasi yang tercetus pada diskusi Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week 2023 untuk pembangunan bangsa yang holistik dan integratif, untuk mencapai sistem energi yang berkelanjutan dengan mempertimbangkan potensi sumber daya daerah melalui aspek pembangunan kewilayahan. Akhir kata, kami mengucapkan terima kasih kepada narasumber, hadirin, dan pihak penyelenggara. Terima kasih atas perhatiannya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih. Berikutnya, Bapak dan Ibu, mari kita sambut bersama Direktur Jenderal Energi Baru dan Konservasi Energi, Kementerian Energi dan Sumber Daya Mineral, Bapak Yudo Dwinanda Priyadi untuk menyampaikan kata sambutannya.
Minta tolong nanti operator ya, rekan kami dari SDM untuk ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, guten morgen for you all. Her Excellency Ina Lepel, Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Indonesia, ASEAN Timor Leste, Pak Ervan, Deputi Sarpras Bappenas, Pak Joko, my colleagues ya, Sekjen DEN, National Energy Council, Pak Paul, and our joint colleagues, Pak Rahmat, Pak Fabi. And distinguished speaker, moderators, participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First thing first, apology, my minister cannot come, he has another important agenda. And I would like to express my appreciation to the Ministry of National Urban Planning, NGIZ, that joined to host the event with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources Indonesia. And Germany has enjoyed, Indonesia and Germany has enjoyed a historical relationship, including in renewable energy development. GIZ always be a fellow partner to the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, MEMR, and I believe that this long-standing partnership will flourish even more in the future, again, because we are in the beginning year of implementing energy transition. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, this slide. The world is currently in a global movement of transitioning to clean energy as an effort to answer the challenges on climate issues while catering people's needs of energy. In support of growing the economy, Indonesia develops energy sector by putting forward the 4A principles: availability, affordability, very crucial in the still a developing country. Accessibility, yes. We are the largest archipelago on earth that we do need energy, supply energy every single corner in this country. And acceptability. At that particular meeting, ministers adopted the joint declaration on sustainable energy security through interconnectivity and agreed to pursue an operational regional target for interconnection of ASEAN member states towards 2045. Minister also vowed to accelerate the just and inclusive energy transition while ensuring, again, energy security, reliability, accessibility, sustainability, resiliency, and affordability. Still a crucial theme for ASEAN when talking about energy. In regard of the net zero emission 2060 commitment, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, along with relevant stakeholders, have prepared the Indonesia Net Zero Emission 2060 roadmap in the energy sector, in which the total emission from the energy sector is targeted to be 129 million tons of CO2 by 2060 on the demand side. The roadmap contains 6 main strategies at the fields of electrification, NRE development, coal-fired power plant retirement, utilizing new energy sources, implementing carbon capture storage, carbon capture utilization and storage, and energy efficiency programs to achieve the target of 2060 or sooner. From the supply side, the strategy focuses on early retirement of coal-fired power plants and massive construction of renewable energy power plants. Indonesia, yes, we have the plan to early retire our coal-fired power plant. But again, you know very well, Indonesia is the largest coal exporter in the world. And when talking about energy security, it is very crucial actually. Again, we are archipelago. We have independent system that many islands still depending on coal power. So this is something that when talking about energy tension, reducing the role of coal, we have to take these two aspects, at least number one, energy security. Secondly, affordability. So this is something that we do need assistance from other countries, advanced countries, I mean. Utilization of new energy such as hydrogen and the use of battery technology are also included as policy option in the future. Yesterday, I and the CEO of PLN, we officially launched the first green hydrogen plant in Indonesia. So yesterday, officially, Indonesia entering the era of green hydrogen production. So PLN in their power plant in Muara Karang, North Jakarta, they have a hydrogen production unit and used for cooling. Now they have the excess capacity combined with solar and renewable energy certificates. Now the blue hydrogen become the green hydrogen, and they have 15 more of large-scale power plant that have hydrogen production plant. So the next game for PLN is expanding to this new initiative, production of green hydrogen to more 15 power plants, bigger one, larger than 100 megawatts. So meanwhile, for the demand side, strategies are divided based on each energy utility sector. In the industrial sector, by increasing electric share, improving energy efficiency, implementing hydrogen and biomass, and deploying CCS, CCUS technology for the cement, chemical, and steel industries, hard-to-abate sectors. In the transportation sector, by continuing biofuel utilization, accelerating electric vehicle, and implementing the use of hydrogen for transportation, eco-fuel for vehicle, and electric vessel for shorter distance. In the household and commercial sector, replacing LPG with city gas network, induction stove, and potentially dimethyl ether, and increasing the use of high energy efficient appliances. Next slide. I should say, this is a kind of disclaimer, Right now, my colleagues, Pak Joko Siswanto and the National Energy Council preparing the new draft of our national energy policy. So once this new PP, new government regulation, approved by the government, and numbers here may change, That's number one. Secondly, right now we are finalizing the discussion with the parliament of the new law of new energy and renewable energy law. So we are entering the last stage, actually, the final stage. Sorry. And then hopefully this is going to be a serious game changer as the basis for our energy tension. 2 years ago, we issued the new mining and coal law. Number one, adopted the ESG principle of mining, and secondly, to push the industrialization. It is downstreaming the mining business, mining sector in Indonesia, from nickel to battery. That's one example. So now the parliament and government already started in the beginning process to revise oil and gas sector. And we also discussed with parliament the potential. The last one is to revise the law of electricity. Coal and mining, new energy and renewable energy, oil and gas, electricity. This for complete new set of law is going to be a crucial game changer for us implementing this energy transition. That's our dream, that's our hope. Start from the basic. Again, I spent in the last 5-6 years as energy negotiator for this country. I was the chair of last year Energy Transition Working Group G20. So based on my own experience in doing many internal negotiations, I know very well that when talking about energy transition, basically every single country is still learning, still in the beginning process. But again, we have to value that every single country different human resource capacity, different mineral resources, different energy demand, different law, and many things, that somehow each of them need to develop their own energy transition scenario. So the roadmap established that additional power plant development after 2030 will only come from renewable energy. The capacity in VRE, variable renewable energy, in the form of solar power plants will significantly increase starting 2030, followed by wind power plants in 2037. Since solar and wind farm energy production fluctuates and do not consistently generate energy the whole day, intermittency issue cannot be avoided. So this is a challenge. We are very keen to seek a solution for this to manage intermittency, because again, Indonesia in the future, it depends heavily on solar energy. So we plan to develop a super grid. This is the full scale of super grid connecting 5 main islands. Of course, we will develop it. We will build it, step by step. The most pressing one is Java and Sumatra subsea cable. And these 5 main islands, Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Nusa Tenggara, Bali. In addition, super grid could connect high energy demand areas but low renewable energy potential with low energy demand areas but have a lot of potential of renewable energy. So we are still start to thinking about what we call beyond electricity. Small island in the Nusa Tenggara, East Nusa Tenggara, have potential geothermal 100 megawatts. But the demand in that particular island is only 5 megawatts. Commercially, not possible unless we'll find what we call beyond electricity. Among others, can we use this electricity to produce green hydrogen in that island? So this is something that's quite challenging for us because again, we are archipelago. We are not continental country like Germany. That connect the cable never stop, ending, binding the whole country, even with neighbor, But in our case, island by island, independent system, something that we have to live on. Indonesians have to live with this situation, As we stand at the cusp of new era in renewable energy and sustainable economic growth, it is crucial that we recognize the immense potential of new renewable energy resources hold in our archipelago. Indonesia possesses large and diverse renewable energy potential in its island and waters, accounted approximately 3,687 gigawatt in total. Indonesia NRE mix reached 12.3%, far away from our target 23%. It is aimed to double to be 23% NRE share by 2020. NRE ecosystem in Indonesia, as mentioned previously, each region has its own NRE potential with their own unique characteristics, so that NRE development policies in each province might be different. Pak Joko and his team, Pak Joko Subianto and his team, working so hard to develop what's so-called the provincial energy plan. So you will see, every single province is quite different, each other. Again, it is our characteristic. Until June 2023, the installed capacity of NRE, which reached 12.7 gigawatt, or only a bit the same, but again, room for improvement is very huge, We are still 0.3% of its potential. The large potential of NRE must be optimized to meet the needs of the people, which will continue to increase along with economic growth. Having seen this number, you know very well, scaling up is our main homework when talking about renewable energy. The decreasing cost of energy development is recorded over the last decade, especially for solar PV and wind. The investment cost for both commodities could compete with the existing 800 megawatt coal-fired power plant. In line with that, the operational and management costs of energy power plants are also relatively low. Next slide. To create a better clean energy ecosystem, we are enhancing the government's role by implementing several policies to boost investment. In 2022, Indonesia has issued the presidential regulation number 112, year 2022, on the acceleration of RE development for electricity provision. This regulation offers a more attractive electricity prices, aiming to attract investment in electricity generation, support industries, and green industries. Energy transition at least need two things for Indonesia. Number one, technology. We do need better technology, more productive, more efficient, and affordable one. Second one, we do need investment. We do need new projects on the ground. So that's why we do need investment, and we are willing to work for technology and to attract more investment coming to Indonesia and develop our own financial capacity. In the field of energy conservation, a government regulation concerning energy conservation has been issued this year to replace the 2009 regulation, a breakthrough for encouraging energy conservation implementation in Indonesia. This new regulation incorporates the practice of energy conservation by the community, whose role includes the use of energy-saving technology, saving on household energy use, wide utilization of mass transportation, building awareness of energy savings in the work environment or household environment. Energy efficiency is one of the crucial elements. If we use less energy, it means we do need less investment. Why? Because seeking for money, for funding right now is quite difficult actually. So this regulation will expand the implementation of energy conservation programs, among others widening the scope for energy management, especially in the industry and building sector, improving energy conservation business ecosystem through funding and financing scheme, energy conservation business and services, human capital development, innovation and research, as well as cooperation and collaboration. Next slide. So this is something that about the roadmap to face down our coal power. Again, Indonesia is very prudent when doing this. Why? Energy security. To keep energy security island by island, as well as maintain affordability. As mentioned before, early retirement of CFPP is also a main focus of our government. To further accelerate the decarbonization in power sector, a strategy of phasing down coal is currently under development. We are about to finish this new book, a new report. Already submit to the minister, waiting for his response. So a main framework has been laid. The capacity will increase until 2030, and there will be no plan to develop coal-fired power plants afterwards. In a net zero roadmap, CFPP early retirement with a total capacity of 6.1 gigawatt is targeted to be implemented in accordance with the ZP emission reduction target of 290 million tons CO2 in 2030. I think Pak Paul will explain this furthermore, Hopefully ZP can also, Pak Paul can also support this early retirement. As the cleanest form of fossil fuels, gas will become the bridge for energy transition. The utilization of gas will be optimized for industry and transportation sector, as well as through the development of city gas network for residential and commercial sector. Moreover, the role of critical minerals, that's something Indonesia is very lucky, very fortunate to have these minerals, also vital in this regard. By optimizing our minerals, the growth of economy can be further boosted, as well as for our efforts to achieve net zero emission by 2060 or sooner. Sooner in the sense that we do need, foreign assistance. We do need technology, we do need finance, Something that quite unique for Indonesia, Bioenergy also plays a significant part in this transition to reduce the dependency for fossil fuel, biomass, and biofuel be used. Other than using it for biomass power plant, the resource will be further optimized to biomass co-firing program. In co-firing, biomass is mixed as part of fuel for existing coal-fired power plant. At the moment, 36 power generator coal-fired, have implemented co-firing and generated 325 gigawatt-hour of green energy, not grey actually, still brown. We aim to have 52 coal-fired power plants conducting co-firing commercially by 2025. In the transportation sector, biofuels offer a cleaner and greener substitute for conventional fossil fuels, leading to a significant reduction in greenhouse gas emission and air pollution. Biodiesel implementation has been running successfully for more than 17 years in this country and has made Indonesia as the pioneer and the biodiesel. It is expected that the benefit value of this program can reach more than 11.2 billion US dollar. In our enhanced NDC, update NDC if you will, but we call it enhanced NDC, The target this year for energy sector is to reduce emission 116 million ton CO2 equivalent. Based on our calculation in early August, numbers show that we have already reached 117 million ton CO2 equivalent. So we got bonus already. Early August, 1 million ton. That maybe if this number keep growing, maybe we can think about voluntary carbon market, the carbon market already in Indonesia right now. Indonesia government is fully committed to advancing renewable energy development in a responsible and environmentally conscious manner. We understand that economic growth and the environmental preservation should be balanced. To support for reaching the ambitious goal and commitments in the roadmap, various energies continue to be forged. The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources has been collaborating with relevant ministries and agencies in the context of developing low-carbon energy in Indonesia, both on large scale, on-grid, and or small scale in remote or off-grid areas. Directorate General of EPTKE, my Director General, in particular is collaborating with relevant partners, countries, and international organizations in this endeavor. A number of cooperation programs with concrete results, with various activities ranging from studies to pilot projects and fundings have been implemented with the aim in providing the most benefit for the people of Indonesia. This collaboration is in line with the government current focus in achieving electrification ratio of 100% this year and is expected to provide policy recommendation for the implementation for energy transition that reach remote areas of Indonesia. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week has focused on the theme United Towards a Decarbonized Energy System and aims to foster dialogue, idea exchange, and innovative thinking. In the coming years, Indonesia and Germany will continue in collaborating to create a brighter, cleaner, and more prosperous future for all. I highly appreciate this event as it provides an opportunity for us to share concrete solutions to scale up new and renewable energy development as well as investment in the decarbonized energy system. Together, we will chart a course toward a sustainable and prosperous future, leveraging the boundless opportunities that this nation has to offer. Thank you so much.
Terima kasih Bapak Yudo, please remain on stage Pak, boleh tetap di panggung, very insightful. Baiklah, dan we would like to welcome back on stage Her Excellency Ibu Ina Lepel. Kemudian juga dengan hormat kami mengundang kembali Bapak Ervan Maksum, along with the Energy Program Director of GIZ Indonesia ASEAN, Ibu Lisa Tinscher. Please welcome back on stage, kita berikan sambutan untuk Bapak dan Ibu kembali ke panggung. Nah, Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, bersama-sama kita akan membuka acara ini. Jadi teman-teman media boleh bersiap untuk mengabadikan momen istimewa ini. Jadi Bapak dan Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to invite all the four of you later on to touch the screen behind you, right? And then we're going to open this event together. But before that, let the media have beautiful pictures of the four of you to commemorate this very special event. All right, okay? Cukup teman-teman media? Kita sudah siap untuk membuka acara kita hari ini? Baiklah, now ladies and gentlemen, let us present the four of you to the screen, closer. Yes, on my count, I'm going to count down, yes, and then the four of you will touch the screen on my count, and then we're going to open it together. Pak Yudo, it's okay not to jump? It's okay not to reach the fingerprints up there? Baiklah, kita akan bersama-sama membuka acara ini, Bapak Ibu, dalam hitungan 5, 4, 3, 2, touch the screen. Let's watch the opening video together. Dengan ini resmi sudah membuka acara Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week. Sambutan yang lebih meriah lagi Bapak Ibu sekalian. Berikutnya, untuk berfoto bersama, kami juga mengundang dengan Direktur KTI Bappenas Bapak Rahmat Mardiana, kemudian juga Bapak Fabi Tumiwa, Bapak Joko Siswanto, Bapak Hasan Maksum, Bapak Paul Butar-Butar, kami persilahkan. Oke. Apakah teman-teman media butuh Bapak dan Ibu untuk maju sedikit? Boleh ya? Please step forward, a couple of steps together. Great, thank you. And everybody give your big smile for the grand opening of Indonesia Sustainable Energy Week 2023. Boleh kita berikan tepuk tangan sekali lagi? A round of applause. So we keep the energy sustained, energy high for this event. Baiklah, congratulations Bapak dan Ibu, and you may please return to your seats. Kami persilahkan untuk kembali ke tempat duduknya masing-masing, Bapak dan Ibu sekalian. Bapak dan Ibu juga rekan-rekan media, sesudah acara pembukaan ini kami mengundang rekan-rekan media terutama untuk bergabung di Ballroom C. Untuk mengikuti kegiatan press conference yang akan diselenggarakan beberapa saat lagi. Sekali lagi Bapak dan Ibu, rekan-rekan media boleh untuk acara berikutnya proceed to Ballroom C. Ya, silakan bergerak ke Ballroom C di mana event press conference akan segera dilakukan. Terima kasih atas kerjasamanya. Dan Bapak Ibu yang terhormat, setelah kita menyaksikan bersama pembukaan dari ICEO 2023, sekali lagi kami mengucapkan terima kasih atas partisipasi Bapak dan Ibu yang telah hadir di sini maupun secara online. baik kepada Republik Federal Jerman maupun Indonesia yang telah berkomitmen bersama dan saling mendukung untuk gerakan energi rendah karbon. Selain itu, kedua negara juga sudah berkolaborasi aktif dalam kemitraan antar negara dengan mengedepankan promosi energi bersih menjadi pusat kerjasama pembangunan bilateral. Untuk itu, untuk agenda berikutnya dengan kami mengundang tim Lead Indonesian German Cooperation Hub GIZ Indonesia ASEAN to be on stage. Please welcome Ibu Gita Fajar Saptiani.
Selamat pagi Ibu Bapak yang saya hormati, salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Kayaknya saya berdiri di sini kurang nyaman, jadi saya di sini aja jalan-jalan sedikit. Tadi Ibu Honorable Excellency, Her Excellency Ibu Ambasador juga dengan dengan Pak Deputi dan Pak Direktur sudah menjelaskan bahwa kerjasama Indonesia dan Jerman ini untuk sektor energi sudah berjalan selama hampir 3 dekade lamanya. Dan kerjasama itu terus berlanjut, diperkuat dalam hal untuk membangun komitmen global dalam perubahan iklim, kemudian juga melaksanakan dan mengupayakan pelaksanaannya tentu saja, serta mendukung pencapaian target nasional dan juga mendukung promosi penggunaan renewable energy di pemerintah bersama dengan pemerintah daerah. Tentunya sebagai pembangunan, kami juga ikut mendukung berbagai upaya dalam hal ini untuk pemenuhan komitmen iklim, pencapaian net zero emission 2060. Kami juga sangat mendukung pengembangan visi Indonesia Emas dan pemenuhan share energi terbarukan yang telah ditetapkan bersama oleh pemerintah Indonesia. The German Indonesia Energy Cooperation Hub, dalam hal ini untuk singkatnya kita sebut sebagai Energi Hub saja, mulai dikembangkan tahun ini untuk memperkuat kerjasama antara Indonesia dan Jerman dalam hal sektor energi. Jadi German Indonesia Energy Cooperation Hub ini mempunyai 3 mandat utama. Yang pertama adalah memperkuat kerjasama melalui fasilitasi dialog antara kedua negara. Kemudian juga yang kedua juga dalam mandat kami adalah untuk menjadi representasi kerjasama yang lebih baik antara Indonesia dengan Jerman. Salah satunya diantaranya adalah dalam hal pengembangan Just Energy Transition Partnership atau JETP yang sekarang sedang berkembang. Lalu terakhir juga kami menyediakan technical expertise yang diperlukan untuk kerjasama yang lebih lanjut. Karena tadi Pak Deputi dan Pak Direktur juga sudah punya visi-visinya apa saja yang akan dikembangkan, dan di situ kami akan bersedia untuk bersama-sama mengembangkan ke arah yang sudah ditentukan. Lalu tentunya selama 3 dekade kerjasama ini ada hal-hal atau ada pencapaian-pencapaian yang telah kami catat atas kerjasama ini, dan berikut ini tidak berlama-lama kita akan segera menyaksikan video yang merangkum sedikit saja pencapaian-pencapaian yang sudah bisa kita rasakan, bisa kita lihat hasilnya. Jadi tanpa menunda lebih lama lagi, saya akan mempersilahkan organizer di belakang untuk membantu menayangkan videonya. Terima kasih.
Germany and Indonesia have embarked on a journey towards a decarbonized energy system, aligning with both national and global goals.
We want to say thank you for the support from the German government, and especially for us in formulating long-term, medium-term, and short-term development plan, especially in energy transition, especially in the electricity sector. And we have support in the policy formulation and also in the process of the outreach our shareholder, including the government, including the academician, private entities, society, and media. And we hope that our cooperation will strengthen for the benefit energy transition in the future, especially in Indonesia.
Indonesia and Germany have a long journey of cooperation on renewable energy. We really appreciate the collaboration with Germany's partners such as GIZ, PTT, and KfW, which have supported Indonesia in implementing renewable energy through various programs such as capacity development, sharing experience, technical assistance, technology transfer, as well as financing. We hope the cooperation and collaboration can be more strengthened in the future and give mutual benefit for both countries in combating climate change, increasing energy access, and achieving a just and affordable energy transition.
Our shared vision is to achieve net zero emission by 2060, ensure 23% of renewable energy mix by 2025, provide universal electricity access, and target a 1% annual reduction in energy intensity. Our energy program in Indonesia stands on 6 core pillars. These pillars encompass equipping communities with green skills for the new economy, supporting businesses in adopting sustainable practices, and electrifying remote locations. Every pillar underscores our joint ambition, an inclusive transition to renewable energy. Committed to ensuring no one is left behind, we also collaborate with non-energy stakeholders to shape a robust, evidence-based narrative for this transition. Over the years, our partnership has catalyzed a myriad of projects, each playing a defining role in Indonesia's energy transition journey. The BMZ's Development Cooperation Program for Energy is a cornerstone of this mission. Financial contributions are streamlined by KfW, while the technical dimensions are spearheaded by GIZ, PTB, and VGR. Amplifying our commitment is the International Climate Initiative, IKI, from BMWK, with contributions directed through GIZ, IESR, WRI, CERA, ICLEI, and ETB. These combined German-Indonesian initiatives are more than just projects. They're luminous beacons guiding us towards a sustainable green horizon. Within our journey to provide equal electrification access, our collaboration with PLN stands out. We've jointly innovated decentralized renewable energy systems, launching trailblazing projects across regions like Sulawesi, East Nusa Tenggara, and Bangka Belitung. Examples of our efforts include the PV agri projects in Kaledupa and Semau, merging solar energy with agriculture, and the adaptable PV boat initiative in Rote Island. Notably, in Sulamu, the solar ice maker daily produces up to 1 ton of ice blocks solely from renewable energy, bolstering local fisheries. This project, an emblem of German-Indonesian cooperation, intertwines advanced technology with local craftsmanship, promoting eco-friendly energy while boosting the economy. On the island of Sulawesi, several renewable energy projects are financed by Germany's financial cooperation through KfW Development Bank. For instance, additional hydropower capacity is built in Bakaru and close to Manado. The renewable energy generated will soon be provided to households and businesses on the island. Before the final beneficiaries can take advantage of the stable and affordable supply of clean energy, additional investments in transmission and distribution systems need to take place. Therefore, KfW Development Bank is supporting the expansion of high and medium voltage transmission lines, dispatch centers, and distribution networks through several loan facilities. knowledge, skills, and expertise through capacity building is the crux of transitioning to sustainable energy. We offer specialized trainings for various sectors in different regions. We partner with Schneider Indonesia and the provincial government of East Nusa Tenggara to garner skilled local technicians to cultivate the solar potentials in the region that is pivotal for Indonesia's renewable energy goals. We successfully set up a solar training center in Kupang, introducing a gamut of activities ranging from trainer certifications, facility installations, to bridging local trainers with the burgeoning solar industry. We're also deeply invested in training and certifying educators, notably through the ADAIB initiative, a pivotal training of trainers program for ET firms, while also offering specialized training for renewable energy companies addressing the dynamic industry needs. With a focus on quality assurance, the projects implemented by PTB, the German National Metrology Institute, provide capacity development for Indonesia's quality infrastructure, especially for the solar PV sector. Capacity building measures based on national and international standards are also dedicated to PV practitioners. Trainings for energy performance certificates and PV module manufacturers raise awareness about quality and the benefits of quality infrastructure services and foster the compliance with standards, promoting higher quality throughout the sector. As we bridge our efforts and foster dialogue, it's evident that our combined strengths can guide the narrative of energy transition, transforming challenges into sustainable solutions.
With almost 40%, the energy sector is a main contributor to greenhouse gas emissions in Indonesia. This makes a greener, more sustainable energy sector one of the main tools in achieving Indonesia's national as well as global climate goals. Germany has been supporting Indonesia in its energy transformation for many years and will continue to do so. Just recently, in the margins of the G20 summit in Bali, we, together with GIZ Plus partners, concluded the so-called Just Energy Transition Partnership. Together with the Indonesian government, we will jointly strive to improve energy grids, raise energy efficiency, and speed up the deployment of renewable energies throughout Indonesia, while taking into account a socially just transformation in coal regions. Together with our partners from GIZ, KfW, and the private sector, Germany will contribute a substantial portfolio to projects to help Indonesia to go net zero as soon as possible.
Reflecting upon our 3 decades journeys, our pledge is unyielding a greener, sustainable future. Together, we stand united towards a decarbonized energy system.
Can we give this video a round of applause? Amazing, amazing presentation of work of 3 decades, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Me, myself, watching that video as a Jakartan, I become very hopeful that I will have and enjoy renewable clean energy soon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your hard work throughout the decades and for the future, of course.